Right, good morning. Welcome everybody to this special meeting of the Cabinet Local Issues Subcommittee. Jenny, can we have the first item?
Membership of the committee?
Yeah, membership of the committee.
Yeah, all present, yes.
Thank
Noted.
you. Second, sorry, I'm just opening the papers.
So minutes of the meeting 12th of October 2020. Yep. Can members confirm if they're
correct record?
Yep, happy with those.
Yes.
Are there any interest to declare?
No.
None?
No.
No problem there. Deputations and petitions?
none received?
None?
No, not received any.
Okay. Questions by members of the public? Are there any, Jenny?
No, I've not received any written questions, Chair.
Members' questions?
I had expected Councillor Bolt to join the meeting, but he may not be able to attend.
I see. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the main substantive item, well, what are the two item 8, objections to traffic regulation order for a Hightown Lane Home Firth? Can we take that one? Who's going to speak to this? Is there anybody?
Hi, yes, it's me, Councillor. It's Ken Major, Principal Engineer.
Ken,
good morning, Councillor. Do you want me to start now? I'm having a little bit of...
Yes, quick resume, Ken, please.
Okay, then, no problem. You're just breaking up a little bit for me there. Previously, we had a request from the residents of Hightown Lane, which is an unadopted road, if we could help them with problems of parking in Hightown Lane in Home Firth. To help them, we undertook a TRO for a permit parking scheme on Hightown Lane and two very adjacent streets called Town Hall Street, Parkwood Lane. This went out between August and September of this year, and we received one objection. The objection came from the Secretary of the Home Firth Business Association on behalf of the Chair, and it was generally about the loss of opportunity for parking for visitors to the town and staff employed in the town. So they undertook one objection. Our officer recommendation is that we reject that objection. The residents live on an unadopted private street, very close to the town centre. We have a policy where third parties affect parking for residents that we can bring in a permit parking scheme subject to a traffic regulation order, and we think this is a valid location to do that.
Thanks, Ken. Are there any comments from members of the public or anybody other than the members of the committee?
None passed to us, sorry.
Okay.
Councillor, sorry, Chair. Councillor Patrick is wanting to speak.
Okay, fine. Councillor Patrick.
Thank you, Chair. I support this TRO. We've been trying to get this for quite a lot of years now. Hightown Lane is right in the centre of Home Firth, and the residents of Hightown Lane have no off-street parking. It's entirely on street, and they are plagued by workers, not so much visitors, but mainly shop workers parking on Hightown. And it's been like it for years. It's been a big problem, and you could say, well, if you put a TRO on it, then that'll displace the workers. Well, yes, it will, but as it is at the moment, it displaces the residents, and I think the residents' needs are greater, given that they live on Hightown Lane. Quite a few years ago, we had it fully resurfaced. The council did that, made a really good job of it. Before that, it was in a terrible condition. So this is really just the icing on the cake to get this TRO so the residents can park. I think there were two separate applications actually. One of the applications was from a disabled resident. Again, there you see the need for parking outside their property. So I do hope Cabinet backs the officers and supports this TRO. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Nigel. Colleagues, any further comments? Naheed or Graham?
Can I come in?
Yes.
Yes. Can I come in, Councillor McBride? I remember speaking to Ken regarding this item, and I was reassured that the objection that there was a car park opposite, a large car park that can be used for businesses to park on this premises. Am I correct, or am I confusing myself here, Ken? I'm asking you.
No, I think we were referring to Crown Bottom Car Park, which is across Huddersfield Road. That's the one that's adjacent to where the co-op, so you were correct, yes.
Yes. So on that basis, I support this application.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Naheed. Graham?
Yeah, Chair, thank you. I totally support this application. It makes perfect sense. It's a private road, and there's, as Nigel rightly points out, there's no off-street parking, for those residents, and I totally support it. That, as I say, that they should be able to park on what is in effect their road outside their own home. So, yeah, totally support this. Makes perfect sense.
So far, it seems unanimous agreement in support of it. Is there any other objection? If not, can we approve this? Are we agree?
Yes, Chair.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Agenda item 9, objection to traffic regulation order, New Road, Netherthon. Ken, would you like to widen our perspective?
Yep. Thank you, Councillor. This relates to a traffic regulation order that we again advertised over the same time period as the previous one, mid-August to mid-September. It came about as a result of a planning condition for the development of 2 detached properties that are actually adjacent to 141 Church Street, Netherthong. The planning condition required us to undertake a traffic regulation order to prevent parking on the last 2 meters of Church Street and the first 80 meters of New Road, so that parking would not affect the access to this new development. We received 4 objections to this in relation to the double yellow lines. In general, the objections were about displacement of parking in relation to the school, which is up around the corner and down Church Street, so a short distance away. And at school start and finish time, parents generally park in this location. A general loss of parking just around the middle of the village, and concerns about the impact further down by displacement of parking to the junction with Netherley Drive. Officers have took this information on board, but we do feel that these objections should be overruled. The requirement is part of a planning condition. The scheme itself improves traffic flow through the village as a consequence of the double yellow lines, and deals with the planning condition to prevent parking in the vicinity of the access.
Thanks, Ken. Any comments from colleagues, from members of the public or fellow councillors, other than members of the committee first?
Just those that were received as objections.
Okay. Martin, do you want to make any comments on this? You joined the meeting especially? Yeah.
I was hoping to get in for questions, but the connection was a bit slow, Peter.
All right. Okay. So no further comment.
Councillor Patrick would like to speak, Chair.
Yeah, Councillor Patrick. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Chair. This one's not as straightforward as the last one, but on balance, I think I support this. This is part of a much bigger problem in the centre of Netherthong. And this section of double yellow lines only came about as a result of a small development built 2 houses, and it clearly helps them when they come out of their new drive, and it will help ease traffic on that bend. But there will also be negatives to it. It will cause problems for people who go to the church, which is still an open church, and it will displace parking. But I would, in supporting this, I would ask a little caveat on the top of this, that our highways team actually looks at the centre of that old part of the centre of Netherthong, in particular around the school. Again, this is an area where there is hardly any off-street parking. It's the old part of Netherthong. There's a lot of old stone terrace housing, and the only thing they have is on-street parking. The roads are very narrow, and when the parents bring their kids to the junior school, the roads are just absolutely cram-packed. You can't get through. And New Road itself is a through road. It's used as a through road by large vehicles to Meltham, and it's incredible how they actually get through. It's so narrow. So I would ask, in supporting this, I would ask, please, if the wider area can be looked at to improve. It's not just parking issues, is it? When you're involved in school children and elderly people, you're looking at road safety as well. So I would ask that the wider area is looked at for improvement. Thank you.
Thanks, Nigel, and I'm sure council officers have listened to what you've just said. Are there any further comments from anybody other than members of the committee? If not, Naheed and Graham.
Thank you, Chair. I support this. I mean, I drive through this reasonably regularly, and Nigel's right. How you get HGVs through there is anybody's guess. Sometimes it's virtually difficult to get your car through there. It is a problem. It's one of those. It's, like he points out, there's very little off-street parking, old houses. It is a challenge, but this makes absolute sense. What a bit about me is the bit on Church Street where you've got the triangular hatches and the hatches, perfect for double yellow lines. But there's a bit about me thinks, why would anybody park there anyway? That is one of the most incredibly dangerous places I think you could park anyway. So if you need double yellow lines there, questions some of the logic of the people who are driving through. But it is a challenging village, so I totally support this. I mean, it doesn't help having the shop there neither, which no doubt attracts a certain amount of people. So yeah, I think I would support Nigel if obviously could have a look, but I don't think there's any easy solutions, unfortunately. But so yeah, I totally support this. It will help enormously.
Thanks, Graham. There seems to be a consensus that on balance we should go ahead. Sorry, Naheed, did you want to make a further point? Yeah, go on.
Yes. So whilst I support the application, I do recognise that we have issues in this area. There is congestion. There are wider issues which are looked at, but basically it's very, very difficult. It's the same problem we have up and down nationally around villages. And I'm hoping that in the future we promote active travel and get many more people out of cars, because that's the only way we're going to ease this situation, and especially schools where we could have walking buses and more children going to school via walking, and hopefully the safety angle will be taken on board there by the schools. But in relation to this particular application, it's the only way we can move forward. So I support it. Thank you.
Thanks, Naheed. I think it's the case that in our neighbouring authorities, they all have transport plans. Every school has a transport plan. That isn't quite true in Kirklees, and we've been aiming to get this for a long time. It is helpful if there is a transport plan, but I think outside schools, virtually every school in Kirklees, there is this kind of problem. In particular villages, it's perhaps the problem is even more exacerbated. I think all we do is support this and take heed of what Nigel says. Ask highways to examine the traffic movements in the whole area in the context of this approval. And obviously the situation needs to be under constant review. But with that caveat, do we support the support the recommendation of the officers?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, we're agreed on that. So I think that concludes the meeting. Thank you for all your contributions. We can conclude the meeting. Unless Martin, you've got a little homily for us.
Well, thank you very much, Chair. Do you believe that enforcement action should be taken against developers who fail to conform and deliver with agreed planning conditions?
Well, obviously, yeah.
Thank you. Well, in that case, could I ask that you support me in getting Kirklees to deliver on the full planning permission for the planning application 2003-95052, construction of a shared use footway, walking, cycling.
Not with others today. If you want to raise it, no.
Well, you were asking me if I had anything to say, so I thought I'd take advantage of your kind nature. But having said that you agree with me, then
Martin, but there's no point in exploring its limitations.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks everybody.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you, Peter.
Bye-bye.